Good morning, real closers. Good morning, Gustavo. How's it going, man?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be back.
Yeah, I know, man. We're supposed to do this every Monday. Hey, we laxed a bit last yesterday, but we're back. We're back here every week. Power Hour with Gustavo from Power ISA. We got a nice question to answer today. Why did that lead ghost you? Like, what
Yeah.
happens? Why do people?
What's going on?
Why do they start the conversation and then they just boom ghost you? Why is that,
Yeah.
Gustavo?
Yeah, it's I mean, and people know what we're talking about. You're probably like, already mad just thinking about, this topic. There's few things more frustrating than this in real estate. If you do any kind of internet lead generation, people coming through Facebook, coming through Google, coming through any one of the portals, talk and they talk to you. That's the key difference, right? Some people may never pick up the phone. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about people you actually contact, you have a conversation with, and you agreed either to meet and at an appointment, or at least they agree to a follow-up, and then crickets, right? Like nothing. They don't pick up, they don't attend, they don't answer your texts, they don't answer your calls, they don't answer your emails. And I think people know, if you've been doing this at any length of time, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You've been ghosted. You've been ghosted. And that's a great like Generation Z term. And it applies to everything like Tinder and dating and all these things. They're looking ghost you. But it applies to real estate the exact same way. You've been ghosted. That person is ignoring those messages. What's going on? What happened? We had a good conversation. Sometimes the agents are kind of like have no clue what happened. Hey, that was a good. You were thinking of buying, or maybe they weren't ready, but you wanted to have a follow up, and you agreed to answer, to the chat later on, and then nothing after that, right? What happened? What happened? So I want to talk about that right now, right? And I think the biggest thing when it comes to ghosting and those kinds of issues, because I think it is particularly an issue with Facebook leads, particularly that group of leads. It's one of the biggest complaints that I see, right? Number one, that they're hard to contact in general. It's hard to get them on the phone. That's one. But the second one is that once they talk to them, they can go nowhere, right? Oh, what's going on? I talked to them and they're not ready, they're unmotivated, and they're not following up. I can't get back in touch with them. They ghost me all the time. So I hear that complaint a lot, right? And there's a couple things I want to talk about to kind of set the table for this discussion. Number one is that you have to understand that the Facebook lead is on Facebook not to look for homes. That's really, it sounds like Captain Obvious here, but that's really, really true because that matters. And what I'm about to say next. It matters because they're just getting started in that process. They might be a year out of that process, right? They might be a year out. So that's the starting point of this conversation. They're clicking on your ad, they're clicking on your post, maybe they're clicking on your ad, and you're going to give them a call. And this is usually where the problem starts, Roberto. This is where the issue can be, because as agents, man, I've done this myself in Power ISA, my company back in the day. Back in 2018, 2019, we would call out of these Facebook leads and we'd almost use the same script we used for Zillow leads. Almost, right? Great. Looking for homes. When do you want to buy? Have you spoken to a lender? Awesome. When do you want to go take a look at that? Great. What kind of home are you looking for? Let's help you out. Let's meet. Let's have an appointment. And that worked really, really well. I'll be honest with you. It worked really, really well. 10, 15, 20% conversion rate to appointments, right? Boom. That's amazing. That was 3 or 4 years ago, right? So the consumer adapts so quickly to these scripts, to this treatment, to these approaches, that you're not going to be successful with that same approach in 2022. I don't think so, right? You're already 90% fail back through 2-3 years ago, right? Now it might be 95 to 100% fail, right? With that kind of an approach. You've got to meet the lead where they are, okay? That is the big, if you're going to take anything away from this conversation, I believe that leads ghosting us as real estate agents, the number one issue is that we're not meeting the lead where they are. We're missing the boat on them. We want to get to the information that we want. When are you going to buy? Because if you're not ready to buy, I'll talk later. Are you ready to buy now? Are you ready to buy now? Like that kind of an approach, I feel is part of the problem of ghosting, right? Ghosting is not something that happens to us out of the blue. I think there's certain scripts, certain approaches, certain mindsets that the only logical conclusion is ghosting. That's actually, and I really believe that. I think that's a really, really true thing. And actually, I was just reading a great book in the last week called Too Nice for Sales. It's from a coach called Barry Jenkins, great guy, mega agent out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. And he touched on this and it resonated with me a lot, actually, a lot. He goes, you got to meet the lead where they are. And number one thing when you're talking to someone that is so further up in the funnel, it's just, it might be a year out, right? When they're getting started, is do not approach them like, what do you want to buy? When do we meet? When have we been pre-approved? They might not even know they need to do that. They might not even know what kind of home they want yet, right? They might not know the bedrooms and bathrooms. So that's what we would ask them. Beds, baths, square footage. What do you want? Like, get really specific. And I think it's part of that problem of approaching these top of funnel leads with bottom of funnel questions, right? Top of funnel leads with bottom of funnel questions. They're not going to, most people are not rude. They're not going to say no. They're going to give you their best shot. They might say they're not sure. And then you're going to try and follow up with them, but they say no, they see no need to follow up, right? They don't see a need because, you know, Roberto, I'm a year out, you know, I'm good. But most people won't say that. They're like, you know what? I'm just not going to answer. I'm not going to pick up the phone. It's just easier. The path of least resistance. And I get it, folks, right? People are busy. They got other things to do. They see no reason to take that next call. They see no reason to follow up within 30 days. I'm still a year out 30 days from now, right? I see no need to talk to you. That is, I feel, it's not, I don't think it explains ghosting 100%, but I think it might explain 50% of why people get ghosted with internet leads. And if you're listening to this, you're watching this, and you're one of those folks that say internet leads don't work because everyone ghosts you, then I'm pretty sure you're doing this. You're doing some version of this problem. You're not meeting the lead where they are. What does that mean, Gus? What do you mean? What if they're a year out? What do you want me to do then? Talking to someone that is a year out from buying, you should change your mindset. Instead of saying, oh man, this guy's a year out, it's useless to me. No, actually quite the opposite, right? You're not competing. You're probably not competing with other agents when you're talking to that person. And you probably have a little bit of time to show them the number one thing that can turn them into a client of yours, which is some value, okay? You've got some time to do that. And people that have a lot of skill converting these realtor.com, Zillow.com leads that are bottom of funnel, it's commoditized. Who can show me the home fastest? Who can pick up the phone the fastest? Who can show me the home the fastest? That's the kind of value you're adding at that point, right? But when they're top of the funnel, it's wide open, right? They don't really know where they want to live. They don't really know what kind of home they want. They might need help figuring out what kind of home they want. They have no idea what the process is, right? But here's the thing, they don't know what they don't know. So my recommendation, and I saw this in this book, and I thought it really resonated with the way I think about this, is that you have to give them reasons why it's valuable to talk to you, even if you're a year out, okay? That is a different approach. It's a different mindset. You're thinking about that. What would be useful to this buyer, even if you're a year out, right? So when you're talking to someone that might be very, very top of funnel, instead of asking them what kind of home they're looking for, you could ask them, great, do you know where you want to move into them? You can even start, and actually Barry recommends this, and I love this. I know you're not doing anything right away. I totally get that. Let's take that pressure cooker out of here, right? There's no need to rush things. You're told, I'm a year out. That's awesome that you're a year out. You're taking your time. I love it. I love that. That's great. What are you looking for in your next property, right? Or another way of asking the exact same question. What would you like to change about the home you're in right now? People know the answer to that, Roberto. Like, what do I not like about my home? I've been locked in here, you know, in and out of lockdowns the last 2 years, and the walls are closing in on me, right? I need an extra room for a home office. I need a bigger yard. I need another bedroom because we're gonna have another kid, right? I need an ADU because I'm gonna have, my parents are moving in with me, right? People know what they don't like about their current home. That question, even if you're 10 years away from buying a home, you can engage with that question. What would you like to change about the home you're in right now? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, tell me more about that. Great, perfect. And you know, those kinds of probing questions, open-ended questions that are not directed at, let's go see a home tomorrow, right? These are top of funnel leads. The number one thing with them is to build rapport, show them that value, build some trust, start that relationship off on the right foot. And you've gotta, and this takes some practice, this takes a script. You wanna drop little hints that you've got the goods, right? You've got the knowledge, right? Talk to them about the current market, right? Oh, that's, I'm looking for a home with a pool. Oh, that's awesome, because I've seen a lot of great listings with pools that have had an awesome price reduction. It's much easier to buy a home right now, Roberto, than it was a year ago, right? I'm actually getting concessions from the sellers to buy down that interest rate. I don't know if you know this, Roberto, but interest rates have really gone up this year. But guess what? I've got some tactics and strategies to help buy down that rate and make it a lot easier for my buyers to afford that payment. Would you like some more information about that? Like, oh, whoa. I mean, they might not even know what the hell you're talking about, really, right? Buying down the rate. What's this? What does that mean? They probably know interest rates have gone up a lot, but they're looking for homes. There's something there that they need a home, right? So educating them, dropping little hints that you are the expert they need to talk to, that creates some curiosity. That creates some, oh, wow, Gus really knows what he's talking about, right? Holy cow, that's really interesting. I might want to know more about that. We're not talking about showings. We're not talking about pre-approvals. Because if you ask someone, are you pre-approved? No. And that's the end of the conversation. I'm not pre-approved. No. Let me go. I'm not 18 steps down the process. But what might they want to know 18 steps before their pre-approval? They might want to know if there's some interesting loan program they can qualify for. And guess what? Sellers, in a lot of markets, sellers are much more open to accepting those loan programs than they were. And it can be USDA, VA, FHA, first-time buyer, down payment assistance, you name it. In a lot, especially in the West, like, California, Oregon, Washington, Boise, Nevada, Arizona, man, they're welcoming those buyers open arms now. Like, come on, please take a look at a home. Yeah, sure, we'll take anything, right? The consumer may not know that, right? Educate them, let them know, bring them the good news, how awesome it is to be a buyer in a lot of these markets now. Not every market. So the Miami agents are like, what are you talking? Yeah, no, not Miami, not Charlotte, North Carolina, not every market. It's not generalized, but a lot, especially in the West, a lot of these markets are shifting. Some of them are shifting really hard. But there might be a great opportunity there. But the point is, educate them. Tell them something they don't know, right? Tell them something they might not know. Okay. And if they mention something about family and kids, everything, great. Have you been looking at some of these top school districts yet? Man, for example, when I was selling homes in Seattle, a lot of folks wanted to move to an area of North Seattle in the North Shore School District. Oh my goodness. Have you heard about the North Shore, how awesome the North Shore School District is? Well, I've heard good things. You know what? Let me send you my blog post about the school district. Let me send you the top 10 neighborhoods in that school district. Let me add tremendous value to you at this stage of the home buying process, right? The educational, the curiosity stage, right? Because all of these things, Roberto, all these things I'm saying, those little nuggets, that education, that knowledge, makes them taking the next call with you much more likely, okay? Much more likely. Because you're not yet another agent that wants to meet with them and know how many bedrooms and bathrooms they want and know if they're pre-approved, right? I have a feeling that approach causing a lot more harm than good if the lead's not there yet, right? It's not like, let me check if they want to buy now. Do you want to buy then? Do you want to buy then? Do you want to buy then? Because you're only going to talk to me if you want to buy now. That's what we're telling them. That's what we're educating them to do. Oh, Gus, I'm not ready to buy now. I don't need to talk to you for a long time. We're giving them permission to ghost us. We're training them to ghost us. I don't need to buy yet. I don't need to talk to Gus yet, right? They're doing what we're asking them to do, right? They're responding the way we're approaching them. If you're not going to buy now, then we don't have to talk, right? And some agents actually give up. Oh, you're not ready to buy now? Perfect. I'll check in later. Okay. A month later, you ready to buy? They're not ready to buy. They're not there. They're not there. And you're not doing a great job at providing value and being a resource, right? So it all comes back to, we've talked about this a few times already, but the value conversation comes up Why? Because the most valuable asset, the most valuable agent is going to win, right? I mean, I believe that wholeheartedly. Whoever's able to more clearly articulate their value to the consumer is going to win, right? And this whole conversation about not getting ghosted is just another kind of a sneaky way to tell people your value proposition has to be spot on, right? And it has to meet the buyer, even if they're early in the process. Even if they're early in the process, they might not care about your VIP buyer program and your off-market properties early in the process. They might not care about that, but they might care about other things, right? Being educated on the process, being educated on the loan programs, being educated on how you can get, how that can work and get them a better rate, being educated on, well, I have a lease, right? So I need to wait a year, Roberto, because I've got a lease. Well, let's talk about that, right? If you can move sooner, would that help? If you could find a great home at a great price, as interest rates have been going up at this current interest rate, or maybe even bought down, would you move now, right? Let's do the math on that. Educate them, help them, walk them through the process. They're not even going to give you any information if you're too focused on, are you ready to buy now, right? Because in my opinion, having that conversation too soon shuts down the conversation. It does. A lot of people don't like that, right? And they might not like the approach, or more commonly, they just don't see need to talk to you. They're not ready to go now, So if you want to be able to continue the conversation and take these leads to the finish line, right? You've got to start value first, education first, right? And then, and again, I'm not just talking about having you calling up these people, having some great real estate conversations. You've always got to ask at the end, great. And what's your plan right now, right? When do you want to be in that new home? That you can ask that, right? But one at the tail end of that conversation, you still have to make the ask. You still have to make the ask for sure. But it's very different when you end that way than when you start that way, right? You're much less likely to get ghosted. You're less likely to get ghosted, and your conversion rate can go up. But here's another very, cold hard fact. Even Barry Jenkins, who's like a master at this approach, like more of a customer service educational approach, he's still only shooting for 5 buyers out of 100 leads. Okay, 5 of those are going to become his clients. You have to try and talk to 100 to find those 5. You're probably going to talk to 20, maybe 30 of them. And of those 20 and 30, 5 are the ones who are actually going to become your clients within 12 months. Okay, 5 out of 100. That's so I don't want to make it sound like, oh, just be nicer to people, show a lot of value, and it'll work like magic. It's all of those things. You've got to have that follow-up. You've got to have that big picture in mind. 5 out of 100 will put you in the top 10% of agents in the country. If you can only get 5 out of 100 to become clients of yours within the next 12 months, most agents average 1 out of 100, probably less than that, right? A fraction of 1 out of 100, right? Most agents do, because most agents follow the very typical, I want to call it the Zillow approach, but I don't think it's Zillow's fault actually, but that's what they want. They want someone that's transaction ready, let's go, right? But they're missing out on a huge opportunity. And Barry says this in the book, it's called Too Nice for Sales. He says it, the agents that figure out how to find opportunities in top of funnel leads are going to do very well in the near and short term, right? In the near term. The agents that figure out how to get value from that top of funnel lead is going to do very well, because those bottom of funnel leads are getting more expensive. The prices are not going down. Conversion rates aren't going up. That's important to understand. Conversion rates for these Zillow, Realtor.com leads are not going up. The price is though, right? 100, 200, someone in California told me $600 for a live transfer. And some people almost that same amount of money just for the lead, right? $600, $700, $800 a pop, or even better, 35 to 50% of your commission, right? That's an ideal amount that they want to charge. So understand that game. So that top of funnel, yes, it takes more work. It's not as easy as some of these bottom of funnel. I agree. Right? I would probably question that, how much harder it is, but we'll just keep it there. It's harder. But the massive opportunity is in that top of funnel space, right? And if you can just modify that mindset and approach them and meet those leads where they are, you're going to have more people returning those calls, responding to those text messages. And this coming from Barry, not me. A lot of those 12-month out leads, I'm 12 months out. become 6 months out, become 4 months out, because you're giving them the information they need to make a better decision, right? And buy now instead of buy a year from now. You're educating them and they trust you, right? Why wouldn't they trust you if you're just giving them value? Like, hey, Roberto, what do you think about this property? What about think about this opportunity, right? Be an advisor, consult with them, right? Be the consultant, educate them on the current market. Guys, it's as best a time to be a buyer right now than it was 6 months ago, a year ago, 18 months ago, 24 months ago. Like, it's a way better time to be a buyer now than before, right? And yes, rates have gone up, but they are not high by any historical measure, right? So this could still be a great time to buy a home, especially with a lot less pressure. So anyways, all of that to say that I think that's why those leads ghost you, but that's the solution, I think.
You know what? One of the things that we talk about with top of funnel leads all the time is that if you want to close them this month, you should have started generating them 6 months ago, right?
Yeah,
you got to
absolutely.
plan. You got to plan for the
Absolutely.
long term follow up. If you, and like you said, lead with value, then
100%. 100%. The people that they have tremendous success with Facebook leads, because when people are like, oh man, those are the worst. No, hold on. People have tremendous success with Facebook leads. I was just listening to a podcast this morning. I think it was a team out of Denver, Colorado, closed 100 Facebook leads last year, $1 million in GCI from 100 Facebook leads, okay, that they closed. Not that they generated, not that they closed 100 Facebook leads, okay? And they generated $1 million in commissions from that, right? Was it easy? No, but they hit a lot. They hit a lot of these same checkpoints. They said, you've got to meet them at the top of the funnel because that's where they are. Just make peace with that, right? Make peace with that. And it is more of a customer service approach than it is a sales approach. That's the biggest nugget I got from the podcast was customer service approach, because they will be responsive to that. They won't be responsive to setting the appointment right away. Not necessarily, okay? That's an important distinction to make. And the people that get it, there's massive opportunity with Facebook leads. The people that don't, there's endless frustration with Facebook leads.
Nice. Absolutely. I'm gonna actually drop that question if you want. You post it in the group. Why did that lead ghost you?
Yeah, that's great. It's a really good one. It's a really good one. It's a good one. It's controversial, right? People have strong opinions about it, but let's educate each other. Let's have a good discussion, because if we think that it's all the lead's fault, I think we're not going to solve the problem very effectively. If we think that we're powerless in change, I don't think so. Actually, I think we have a lot of control over how many leads end up ghosting us. I don't think you can ever solve it 100%. I don't think you need to. Just get 5 out of 100 to become clients of yours and purchase a property. That I think is very doable.
I mean, 5 clients out of 100 leads. If you're able to generate 100 leads each month, project yourself 12 months out, I mean, you're going to be closing 60 deals a year. Easy.
Absolutely. If you put in that work, right? If you put in that work, 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Put in the work, get those results. Yeah. All right, man. Thank you for stopping by again. We're going to be back here next Monday, 8:30 Power Hour. We do this every Monday. Again, guys, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. Anything, just drop them in there. We'll get back to them. So I'll see you guys next Monday.
Thanks.